The year is 1878, and tension between the British and Zulu has never been as high. This was magnified when the Zulu murdered several Zulu women who had fled into Natal from the Zululand. Coincidentally, at the same time, Chief Cetshwayo was amassing a large Zulu army. And on the 11th of December 1878, the British delivered an ultimatum to emissaries at the Lower Thukela Drift: disband your army or risk invasion. On the 11th of January, the ultimatum expired, and the British crossed the Buffalo River and entered Zululand. To combat this, Chief Cetshwayo ordered a number of guerrilla-style attacks. These were brutally met with the power of the Martini Henry rifle. And then this was compounded when the British attacked and defeated a small Zulu force at Saheo's Corral. This angered Chief Cetshwayo, and on hearing that Chelmsford had split his force in order to search for his army, he decided to launch a full-scale assault on the British camp at Isandlwana. There, 1,837 troops, made up of British, native and colonial troops, waited. General Pauline sends out a scouting party to search for the Zulu army. Durnford and Pauline both held the rank of colonel, but Pauline was in command. That, however, did not stop Durnford in taking his troops out of the camp to look for the Zulu, against Pauline's advice. Some of the lieutenants expressed worry by the lack of a defensive strategy in the camp, but Lord Chelmsford had been clear that the columns must be ready to move quickly if the Zulu army was discovered. Pauline then ordered the rocket battery away from the camp in support of Durnford. Meanwhile, the scouting party splits in search of the Zulu army.
They must be close.
At 11:45, Lieutenant Charles Raw's troops discover the Zulu army of over 20,000 Impi. This prompted the start of the Zulu attack.
They're on the move, sir.
Raw's orders a fighting retreat and sends a runner back to report their discovery.
Fire! Reload!
News arrives at the camp that the Zulus are attacking, so Pauline sets up his defensive perimeter. The British camp was set up at the foot of the mountain. The army was made up of 6 companies of British soldiers, led by Captain Younghusband, Captain Mostyn, Captain Cavere, Lieutenant Porteous, Captain Wardell and Lieutenant Pope. It also included a rocket battery with 2 guns, Royal Artillery with 2 7-pound guns, 2 native Natal infantry and other units such as Natal Mounted Police, Imperial Mounted Infantry and Boer soldiers. Perlin sets up his defensive position further away from the camp than he wanted, due to the rocket battery and mounted troops being away to the far right. The British Army was made up of 748 British soldiers and 1,089 native and European colonial troops. The Zulu impi approached the British using their tactic known as the Horns of the Buffalo, with the head being the frontal attack, to draw the enemy in with the horns attacking from either side. The first attack began on the British right flank. The Zulu impi arrive at the centre of the British line. The British left flank was made up of 2 British companies and a Natal native contingent along with Boer soldiers. Durnford meets up with the remnants of the rocket battery and mounted infantry to attempt to repel the Zulu attack. Durnford sends a message for artillery support to aid their retreat. As they were only on a scouting mission, they are running short on ammunition.
Order the men to make a fighting retreat.
Private Waffle discards his helmet and his tunic and makes his escape. Pauline ordered the men to take up defensive positions. Cavea ordered a group of men into a square. Cavea knew it was only a matter of time until the Zulu broke the line. Pauline ordered Lieutenant Melville and Lieutenant Coghill to retreat and save the colours. Durnford decides to stay and fight with his men rather than flee.
There's just too many of them.
Has a chance to escape, but instead helps a wounded Natal native soldier. the Buffalo River. Having crossed the Buffalo River, Melville and Coghill are surprised by a group of Zulu impi. One of the few survivors, Private Wassell, crossed the Buffalo River. He then turned back to help fellow soldier to escape, later winning the Victoria Cross for his actions. The tactical failings of the British was the lack of a defensive setup using the wagons. The defensive perimeter was formed too far away from the camp, which meant the line was too long to defend. Durnford's troops on the right flank were ill prepared and ran out of ammunition, meaning they had to retreat. If Pauline and Durnford had worked together and had set up a tighter defensive position at the base of the mountain using the wagons, the outcome may well have been different. It was approximated the Zulus must have lost between 1,000 to 2,500, with around 2,000 wounded. The British lost 727 British troops, 52 officers, 343 Natal native contingent, and 133 European colonial troops. Overall, the death toll came to over 1,300. The Battle of Islandwana is recorded as the worst defeat ever inflicted on a modern-day army by natives.